Okay, so first of all, look in the stream. Do you see that stone that has an iron pipe on it? Like that is one of the original capstones. There's another one over here. There's several under the water you can't see. Those capstones were set at the correct level, and they went all the way across this structure, and that's what sent the water into Burden Lake at that level. And when they wanted to raise the water, that lever had boards on it. They would raise the lever, and it had 2-foot boards on it. It would force an additional 2 feet of water to go into Burden Lake that direction.
Even though, so that's what, so the water's
okay. So let's start fresh. The wine and skill's here, right? The wine skill. Where does this water come from? Glass Lake from Taborton Mountain. That's all Taborton Mountain water coming down here through Crooked Glass to here, by the mills, by Faith Mills to here. So about 600 feet upstream from where you can see, there's a natural 20-foot waterfall. It's underneath the Burden Lake Road. You don't even see it when you drive over the road. But there's a 20-foot waterfall there. So as the water was coming down, when this was set correctly at the right level, all the way across, you can see one iron piece that goes off to the left. That's the last standing original capstone. Can you see it over there? There's one all the way over. See the iron pipe on it, the iron piece on it? Wish I could walk over there and show it to you. But there's one over there still. Yeah, you see the little piece of orange in the water? Yeah. Look to the left of it. There's an iron hinge on there if you see it.
This is a spot here where some kind souls put some sandbags?
Yes, and in the 70s, some kind souls put a bunch of railroad ties in here too.
Oh, I see the railroad.
I think you were here for that.
I think we need some more kind souls.
So
these rocks over here would have washed themselves down right to the edge here.
It'd be a miracle, wouldn't it?
It would be a miracle.
It would be a miracle.
Yeah.
So the middle of the Weir, at about the center, it's really hard to tell with the water flowing over it. There's a piece where it was concrete underneath those. The capstones are bluestone or marble. They were on here.
Those are sandbags.
Those are sandbags.
Those are sandbags, not rocks.
Okay. Over there is a capstone. You see that? We said first, that's a capstone.
The rectangular thing.
Yes, with an iron piece on it.
Right.
Those went all the way across the top of here, set at a level mark. And when the water came and hit those, it would deflect and go back and go into the lake this direction.
Oh, okay.
That's what they did. They made the water's coming, it hits them. So some water can go over, but the rest of the water goes, let's go this way, and went in the lake. Then water's going into the lake.
Where's the water going now? That's going that we're supposed to get in our lake.
That's going to the Hudson River.
All right, so
that's where it's going.
It's kind of
it's helping the Hudson up. Yeah,
yeah,
it's helping them. Right.
Now,
that's wastewater.
The wine and skill?
This is the wine and skill. The wine and skill comes along here. They put the original diversion dam was made out of wood. It was right here, wood. It was washed out in the storm and replaced around 1900 with this structure.
Okay.
But then, so this stream, the Weir always allowed some water to go downstream and deflected about, I think we said 12% got deflected into Burden Lake.
Okay.
So when the stream is higher than the water in Burden Lake, the water goes into Burden Lake. When the stream is lower than the water in Burden Lake, the water comes out of Burden Lake, joins the stream, and goes over the Weir. Do you say that again?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Let's say it again. When the stream is full, like it was full during that May 10th storm, this stream was full. I came here, it was 18 inches of water here. It's huge. A huge amount of that water, because it was higher than Burden Lake, went that way. It was emptying into Burden Lake.
When they were calling for water, and the guy was working the gate, were they working this at all?
No, because that stream, if you look on the map I gave you, the stream under the valve went back that direction and met at Gardner Road. Oh. But it had nothing to do with this. Right? You got to look at that map again. So let me say it again. When the water level in the wine and skill is higher than the level of the water in the lake, the water goes that direction and fills the lake. When the water in the lake is higher because we've had a rainstorm, or maybe the lake filled up from I just told you we lost 16 inches. During the storm, the wine and skill was higher, it pushed all that water into Burden Lake. Burden Lake also acts like a big bladder. It prevents a lot of downstream flooding because we absorb millions and millions of gallons of water here during a storm. After the storm, the stream level goes down, then the water starts to come out of Burden Lake because the stream is lower than the level of Burden Lake, and it comes out this way and it meets it, and it goes right over the weir and goes downstream. Did I get it this time or no? Yes? And the beauty in it is, it's a structure that no one has to do anything about. It does it all by itself. They sent. Yeah, that's the wine skill creek there. Yeah, it's all the wine skill.
When the weir's not functioning like it is now.
Well, now what's happening is, you see there's water still coming out of Burden Lake. If the capstones were on here where they belong, that water wouldn't be coming out of Burden Lake. It would have stopped.
When did they get moved off the top of the weir?
Oh, well, you see this section is railroad ties.
Yep.
Well, that collapsed in the 70s. When I was a kid, we came down here. I think it was in high school, a whole bunch of families, and I'm sure you guys were there. And we dug it out. In those days, there was no DEC, and we weren't worried about it. We came in here with equipment, and we built it up with railroad ties. In those days, the lake was so low, we had sandbars everywhere. The third lake was incredible how low it was. And so two things happened. Bonded was using the water. Bonded uses this water. This goes by bonded concrete. They use the water to wash stone to make concrete. They had permission from Portec to leave the valve open, and they were washing the stone to build the South Mall in Albany, making concrete. And then this collapsed, and the water just left Burden Lake. So a bunch of us came down here, I don't know how many, a whole bunch of us, and we rebuilt this broken section with railroad ties. And that, you know what, that was from the 70s, so it lasted a long time.
When did it wash out again?
Over the last, I'm going to say maybe 10 years it's happened. First two of the capstones washed off. We put a few sandbags in, you know. Then more, and then during that really big storm in July 2001, most of them just said, okay. During that storm, we came down here, the water was right up to here. The water flowing through here was right at this spot, going that way. You couldn't even see the weir. The water was going so fast, it looked straight from here.
Well, this part's still working for the most part.
It was leaking out the front badly.
Who made you take the sandbags out of there?
Actually, a storm washed them away. In fact, we called the DEC one day. I sent a letter, said, did you remove the sandbags? Because they're all gone. We thought maybe they came and removed them, but obviously they didn't.
So, Larry, what's the situation now with the way it sets here? What needs to be addressed to the hydraulics?
This structure needs to come completely out and replaced. That's called the weir. It's not salvageable.
So what happens to the lake level then?
Well, they're probably going to have to they'll probably block it off here. You know, there's different options. We're meeting here with a contractor next week to talk about the possibility if we can divert the stream around the other side temporarily, or how to do it. We're not positive. Have it at the correct elevation it always was at. Nope. It's just going to be at the correct elevation all the way across. We did offer to the DEC to put a fish ladder in because they're worried about the fish. But as I said, 600 feet from here, there's a 20-foot tall waterfall. They're not going up that.
So it'll be a dam at that point?
No, it'll still be called a weir. A dam holds water back. A weir lets water go over.
Who owns the land on this?
We do now. We now own all this land. There was a guy, there's a house up here. You can't see it now, but in the fall you can see it. There's a house here. He owned that side, and he gave us a big piece. And there's a house right up there, and he gave us the other half of it. So we own we own all of it. The Burn Lake Preservation Corporation owns it all now, but only since 2023. They'll either build a new weir behind it or in front of it, or they'll take this out. I think they're going to opt to take this out. Is what I think they're going to do. It'll be at the same exact height. I mean, I don't know. But they're talking about maybe steel. They make steel interlock sheeting you might be able to use. But we think maybe too rocky to use that here. We don't know for sure. First one was wood. How did they divert the water then? They probably built it in the fall when there was. I've been down here in the fall and there's no water at all in the creek. Nothing. Just because it's a drought. You know, it's just. If you did this in September, you probably wouldn't have much of a problem.
So when we had the big floods in 21, all the rain was the main problem. Wasn't part of the problem also that these streams got blocked, contributing to the water backup?
Nope.
No, it was just the rain.
Just the amount, because we got 5 inches in 3 hours. That was the problem. So there was just so much water that it just couldn't get rid of it all. As I said, there was three. This is 3 feet higher than that, and this was solid water all the way, solid water, 3 feet high. As you can see, it was just crazy. It was nuts. And again, there's pictures of that in the books that we have. There's several issues happening at the same time. The first issue is in 2021 we applied for a federal grant. We're still waiting to get the grant. Now the grant is still in process. There's been a lot of things happening in Washington. You don't know what's going to happen with the money, but our grant comes under what's called hazard mitigation, and they've told us that that money hasn't been touched, and that our grant still looks good. We're talking to FEMA on a regular basis. They've got us some questions we have to answer to them this week, so they're still working on our grant. So it appears to be moving forward. I'm very hopeful that we'll get the grant.
And they've put some of their own money
That
into
FEMA is almost done spending $1 million doing an environmental assessment of our project. At their cost, they're going to spend. They're going to give us $3.5 million. We're going to match it with $420,000. They're spending $1 million to decide if they'll give us $3.5 million. Perfect.
But they'll guarantee the engineering.
Yeah, right. Okay, so the other issue is this.
Before we get to that second issue, what is that money going to do? You talked about doing this.
It'll raise this berm, cut all the trees down. It'll raise the berm, clean out the canal, and put a new weir in, and enough. There's a little bit of money to shore up the back of the dam, and we'll go to the dam last, to the backside of the dam.
Underneath the road.
No, that's all new.
The road being reconstructed is a different issue.
The top of the dam, you mean?
Opening up the road.
That's a different issue.
So two entirely separate.
There's two things going on, three things, I guess, simultaneously. Right. The second one is the DEC. They have control over all this, so they say. Now, remember I told you that the legislature approved the Wine and Skill Improvement Association to control all the water of the wine skill in 1843. The first thing our attorney said to the DEC was, you have no authority here. This was approved by the New York State Legislature in 1843, and you, the DEC, can't override them. That's one issue. The next issue is who owns the dam structure? Because the county claims that we own it, and we say we never bought it. We don't own it. And we think the county owns the structure because they've done all the work to it for 150 years and maintained a road on top of it. That's the second issue. The third issue is something else you asked me about that I was going to say.
Physically opening up this
Oh, the road, opening the road. So here's the story with the road. The BLPC is not in the road business. If they want, well, here's what we've said. If you want to reopen the road, you can. But then you, Mr. County or Mr. Town, whoever's going to open the road, has to do additional engineering and additional strengthening of the dam to carry the weight they've been putting it over all these years. We're not in the road business. So how can we guarantee a dam's going to hold if they're putting full cement trucks over it all the time? We have no control over that whatsoever.
So is that issue separate from the first two issues?
Yes. It's happening at the same time, but we're going to court with the DEC on Tuesday, and some of this is going to be hashed out on Tuesday.
Where's the meeting? In Albany or
the DEC's office in Albany.
Where's that at?
Right next to the old train station. Downtown.
Somebody take responsibility.
Yeah.
BLC, county, town.
They want somebody to be responsible. Right.
For all three issues.
For the whole thing, the whole dam system, repairing it, fixing it, maintaining it.
That's complicated.
It is very complicated. So, we're working through it as we go. It's not easy, but we've been making progress. We have a really good attorney, a guy named Tom West, who's been really good, really helpful, and we'll see what happens on Tuesday. I'll have more news then. But it doesn't change the physical things that need to be done here. And if we don't get the grant, somebody asked about tax history. If we don't get the grant, the DEC is going to say, "Oh, then don't worry about it. Don't fix it." The DEC says this stuff has to be repaired. All of it has to be done.
All three issues.
Every bit of it. Well, they don't care about if the road's open, but they want the berm and the weir fixed. In fact, the DEC, I hate to say this to you guys, but the DEC is making the engineer give them a price to remove the weir. The DEC doesn't really want that in the stream. But that's because the DEC doesn't understand what it does. When my brother first put the drawings together and we sent them to the DEC and it showed the water flowing this way and this way in the canal, the DEC called and said, "What is wrong with you guys? Water can't flow both ways in a stream." And he said, "Well, no, you don't understand what happens. Sometimes if this is higher, it goes that way. If that's higher, it goes this way. It's a canal. This is how it works." And so I met with a guy from LaBella Engineering who's doing engineering for the county last week for 3 hours. And he said to me, Larry, we've checked. There's no other dam like this in New York State. Nothing has a canal that the water goes in and out of. Always the water comes in on this side of the lake and goes out on that side. Never does it come in and out in one spot. So it is a very, and he called it a modern marvel of its day.
Wow.
That's what he called it. Nothing that they know of. Well, for the state, for sure. I mean, I don't know about the country. You know. But you got to remember, we were, you know, because of the timing, the population was here. This was very early in all that stuff. These streams are being used to power machinery long before other streams were. And that came from the Dutch. The Dutch were all here. They were doing it in Holland. Maybe there's some other options with grant opportunities somewhere. I don't know that, but I can tell you that as far as I see, the only option is to create a taxing district. We've already identified all the parcels that are lakefront parcels around all three lakes. There's 325 of them. And like a library district, each parcel might have to pay a certain amount every year. I'm not pushing for that, but guess what? Yes, and it would have to be done at Rensselaer County level. Mm-hmm. Yep. And the DEC is going to push that to happen probably. I don't know. There's a couple of different categories of people that we identified. There's people who have their property touches the water, touches the high water mark where we are. Then there's people who have properties that say they have rights to Burden Lake. There's people who say they can have a dock and a boat on Burden Lake. So we've set them up as different categories, not knowing how to handle all of them, but we just said we know they're different. So these people are this, these people, here's the people whose property touches the water, you know. So we're not sure where that would go. Well, you know, then you have to talk about what happens if something breaches, right? If the dam, this is important to maintain the level. Now, what would happen over time if they took the structure out? The stream bed, of course, filled in over time. You can see the rocks, but it wasn't like that when they built this. So eventually, it will erode down here, and the stream will be 4 feet lower than the height of this canal, and the water could never get in the canal, right? And then if this broke today, if the whole thing broke, more water would drain out of Burden Lake until this canal was dry, right? It would just go, gone, right? If the dam broke, where we were first standing, you'd lose even more water. It depends on how low it broke. If it broke all the way down to that pipe, you're going down 20 feet. Yeah. Any more questions? Be happy to try to answer them.
How old is the culvert on First Lake Road?
That's a bridge, and it got red flagged last year, and it's being replaced. It's being replaced. Now, in 18, I've made the suggestion, I don't think that anything's going to happen with it, but in 1899, when this guy, Howard Green, you know, they had the Johnstown flood and many people were killed. And right after that, the Wine Skill Improvement Association hired this guy, Howard Green, to do an assessment of all the dams on all the lakes, Burden, Crystal, all of it. They wanted to make sure they didn't have a Johnstown flood on their hands. And this guy came through, did a whole engineering report. We have copies of it, pictures of it. And he made lots of recommendations, of which they did most of them the same year. One recommendation he made that they didn't do was he wanted a gate on the First Dyke Bridge and a gate on the Second Dyke Road by Kays, so that if something happened here, they could close the gate. Now, why did he want to close the gate? Was he worried about somebody getting flooded downstream? No, they wanted water. He was about saving the water for power. Close it off. We can't lose all this water that we stored up. Close it off, we got the water.
So if this breaches, the lakes over in that direction are affected too, right?
No, no effect at all. We're downhill from them.
Do they regulate?
Yeah, Glass Lake does. And they've had a lot of DEC problems too.
What do they regulate their water?
There's you drive across it right near TVA, there's a dam there.
Right.
And they have a thing to control it too. They do it too. Yeah, that's where the other dam was.
So if they take this out completely, the water will drop to the level of where? So
Well, until a canal completely empties, right? Which would get you to the land underneath the spillway bridge. If we stood there and looked down, it would get you to the bottom of that. Then the first lake would be at that height, whatever that is, right? All the rest of the lakes, the water would drain until it got to the bottom underneath the First Lake Bridge and the bottom underneath the Kays culvert. It would drain to that, and from there, evaporation would take over. I have it in my thing here. Let me just tell you how much water we lose to evaporation. It blew my mind when we did this because I didn't know. I have it here. Let me just tell you. It's insane how much we lose to evaporation. If I can find it. In 2024. Now you have to do this. It's a factor of temperature and wind and a whole bunch of other things that all go together, right? But in 2024, we calculate the lake lost, all three lakes together, 534 million gallons or 51.8 inches of water.
From evaporation.
Just from evaporation.
That's crazy.
And so sometimes people on the third lake will say, well, is the country club still taking water? And sometimes they are taking water. But the water they take is nothing compared to how much we lose to evaporation every day. But it depends on wind, sun, there are a lot of factors, right? So so when I say evaporation will take over, once this empties and the canal, I've seen the canal totally dry, I have pictures of it. There's no more water coming in the lake from anywhere, only from rain, from runoff if we have rain. But as I said, the rain runoff was enough to maintain Martin's Lake. That's why it stayed Martin's Lake for hundreds and hundreds of years. It only became the size it is because they forced the water into it, and they still have to force the water in. Okay, so if you want to come down to see the other side of the dam, that's fine. If you want to depart now, that's okay too. All right. Anybody who wants to come, let's go.
Where's the come through the lake?
You see that half round piece of black brown steel down low.
That's where the
This is there's a piece of brown steel with bolts sticking out. You only see a half round there. You see it back there?
Yeah.
That is the other side of the pipe that's now got the cap on it with the bolts on it holding it closed.
Oh, so that would like raise that up or lower it?
No. Normally there wasn't a cap on there at all.
Oh,
On the other side, they would open the valve,
right.
and then the water would come through the pipe.
Oh, gotcha.
And you can't quite tell, but this is a hill. The water will go that way, around this hill we're on, and it will go back to Gardner Road, and it will meet up with the wine school when they open that pipe. And I can remember as a... Say it again?
Doesn't look like we're losing any water here.
It's really hard to tell. This is a low spot, so water comes in here naturally. But there may be a slight leak.
You're saying there's a hole in the dam left.
There's a big hole over there. There's two of them, actually. And then you can see the stones around the pipe are all loose, right? So they're worried about that. And if you look, we have pictures. So I wanted to do this before the leaves came out. We have pictures from 2012 and then 2024. And the stones went from this to this. So, I mean, that was the traffic going this way all the time. The stones are doing this.
I mean, if we lose this here, you're going to lose a lot of water in the lake.
Yeah.
A lot more than we're losing down there.
And the third lake, it will stop at the bottom of Kay's Culvert. That's how it will go.
Yeah.
You won't be able to go into the second lake because it'll be 2 feet lower.
Right. I mean, this is... How old is that dam?
1860. Well, the bottom part, you see where there's some trees growing in the middle?
Yeah.
Well, that was the top of the original dam, 1831. Then on top of that is another 10 feet they went, and that was 1863.
And it ends up by...
It goes right up to where we walked in just about. No, but we're talking about having somebody, refix the stone, repoint the stones, maybe do the whole back of it with some kind of a gunite or some kind of a product that will help hold all of it together.
Right.
They have to change the road. The road has been slanted this direction, so water's running down the road all the time. Salt and water, and it's just freeze-thaw, it's just making the rocks go crazy. Freeze-thaw. And this was originally done with, it was all hand-stacked stones. There was no mortar. They were all just hand-stacked. So,
There's no mortar holding it together.
well, there is some. I see mortar in different places when I look, so they must have done some things over the years, but it wasn't built that way. So you can't see the holes very good from here, but there's a couple of good. I mean, there's one hole in there you could almost stand in. It's big.
Wow.
It's the front part has come off. The rock, the front layer of rock has come off, and you could walk in. I don't know, 12,
How
16,
thick
18
is
feet.
it?
How thick is the whole dam?
Well, yeah, the rocks that go.
I don't know. We don't know for sure. Now, one of the things that no, it's because it's filled with dirt. It's filled with earth and filled with dirt and clay. So one of the things that Labella is going to have to do is what they call a geotechnical survey, and they're going to have to drill some core samples to find out what is in there.
Oh, okay. whereabouts is the sewer pipe?
It's in the center. It's
Right
it's
in the
in the middle of the road, and it's down 10 feet. So at least the
On
manholes
the
are
road down 10 feet.
the manhole is down 10 feet at least. You know, they have a with a grate on top, right, and then the lines at the bottom of that. So the manhole is as deep as where those little trees are.
Does
It's
DEC
pretty
ever come
deep.
down here and check and see what's going on here?
I can't tell how many times Mark Chaffee asked the DEC to come here, and they just wouldn't come.
I think that's
They
good.
had every excuse under the sun, including one day the guy said, "I can't get a car from the motor pool. I can't come."
That's good then. I mean, if somebody were to do something to help out here, then they don't come and check.
Doesn't help our argument
Oh.
though. That's all.
Well, it does. I mean, because they don't. That's what I mean. How can they kind of legislate this from their offices without ever having come to see this? You know, you can tell people all you want, but to actually come and see it is a whole different thing. You really can't get the whole.
I would welcome them to come.
I just, you know, for them to even fine us without coming here and seeing.
Well, now our stance with the fines are we didn't even own it. You can't fine us. We don't own this, and we
Right,
didn't
I
own
told
that
you
until
that, didn't you?
2023. It's like you did, thank you,
They
We're like-
even come down here. How do they know there's sandbags there?
because we asked permission to put them there, and then we never
They
took them
made a
off.
mistake.
Well, one guy does come. I'm sorry, I should say this. One guy comes every other year and does an inspection. A little guy with a clipboard, and he walks around, writes down the same shit from last year. Looks at last year's thing, doesn't even change what was written, and just mails it to him. I think mails it to the BLPC. Says, "Oh, you have deficiencies in your dam."
And it says the same thing every year.
Just about, almost exactly. It's like they didn't change it.
Couldn't just fill this in.
That's what I have suggested, John. Exactly
Fill
that.
it
I
with
said,
dirt?
why don't we just backfill this entire? If you needed, the DEC still says, at least engineers have told us, they still want us to have a valve and a pipe because if there's too much pressure on the dam, they want to be able to open the valve and release some water. So one of the things we've suggested is in that berm we are on, that we actually put a spillway in that berm at the elevation about a foot higher than the high water mark so that the water automatically goes back out all the time. So it can't ever get as high as the high water mark again. And maybe that would satisfy the DEC. But they want to be able to, that's how they always think about dams. There's something wrong, we let the water out and get the pressure off the dam and then figure out what to do.
They bore through that the pipe, kind of like they did.
They think this could even be reused, I think. It could be lined. So. All right, that concludes our tour, unless there's any more questions.
I'm so appreciative.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Lara, thank you.
You're welcome. No problem.
Mhm.
There'll be a test later on
Are you gonna send
at
me-
trivia night.
where's the room?
Available on the website today. Download it and read it. There you go.